Hey everybody, it's LavenderTowne, and today I'm going to be turning cartoon animal characters into humans. I tried to pick some of the most recognizable and iconic designs, though I also snuck in a few niche ones. And I wanted to start off with Hello Kitty. I've talked about Hello Kitty on this channel before, and honestly it's just because I find her design really interesting. The fact that she has no mouth in almost every depiction of herself is really intriguing, because usually with cartoon characters all of their facial features are really exaggerated, except for sometimes the nose, but particularly anything that might animate, like the eyes and the mouth, are really heavily featured. And so for a character to have so much lasting power in our society that has basically no expression and is so blank, I just find her really interesting. So I wanted to see what she would look like as a little girl. There's also that pseudo controversy a while back when the people at Sanrio said that she's not a cat, she's actually a little girl. That turned out to be kind of like a translation error, or more metaphorical than literal, but it definitely got me thinking while I was working on this design. So I tried not to do anything like attach animal ears to a headband and make an accessory for these designs. I just felt like that would be way too cheap, way too easy, especially since the whole point of this video is to make them not animals anymore. Though I did try to keep the silhouette of her whiskers by putting little barrettes on either side of her hair, and I kept her not having the mouth just because that's such an important part of her design. And everything else from there, I really wanted it to be as accurate as possible. I chose a reference image of her in some very cute overalls and with a striped shirt. I just think that those sailor colors, the blue and red, really remind me the most of her, even though she's often shown wearing pink and red as well. I just always remember her in this blue and red getup, and I decided to sample all of my colors directly from the reference images this time, just because I wanted to be extra accurate. Sometimes I feel like I get a little carried away and put too much of myself into these redesigns, and I do want to, of course, make it my own art, but I also really want to capture the actual spirit of all of these characters, so I'm going to be trying that out. I decided to shade relatively lightly on her. She doesn't really have much shading in her original form, and this is how she turned out. I think she turned out really cute. I think it really looks like her. Next up, I wanted to draw ScoobyDoo, because ScoobyDoo was one of my absolute favorite cartoons when I was a kid. I still have a little pencil case that has ScoobyDoo on it. It's neon green and purple, and honestly, I have a lot of fond childhood memories watching both the old original show as well as What's New Scooby-Doo. So I am trying to really capture Scooby's spirit and look. This one is probably the one out of the whole video that I found the most difficult. At first I was going to make him really scrawny, like Shaggy, but the more I was looking at him, the more I realized he has quite a barrel chest and he's quite a big dog as well, so I assumed that he should probably be a brawnier human. And as for his outfit, I didn't want to just literally give him a collar, so I ended up giving him a turtleneck, and I decided to color the cuffs and the neck of the turtleneck more like Scooby's collar color. And generally I tried to keep his outfit looking sort of retro, because even though they've made lots of modern versions of Scooby-Doo, all of the characters' designs stay kind of the same, so I wanted it to have that 60s vibe still a little bit. I gave him high-waisted bell bottoms for this reason, and of course he's getting into the Scooby snacks. I mean, as we know, Shaggy's more than willing to eat Scooby snacks, so even if Scooby-Doo is a human, I think he would have no problem continuing to eat those. Please let me know, anybody in the comments, if you have ever had the fruit snacks, Scooby snacks. They used to have them, and they had this cloudy blue one that was so delicious. That's one of my deepest childhood memories. Anyway, again, I'm sampling the colors directly from Scooby. The turtleneck color is the direct sample from Scooby's coat, and then I just did a lighter version of that for the pants. And I took that collar, teal color, and put it in a few different places, like I said, as well as finding out the look and color of the Scooby Snacks box. And honestly, I think that he turned out okay. It's probably the one I'm the least happy with. I really like ScoobyDoo, and I feel like I didn't quite capture his energy perfectly, but let me know what you think if you're a ScoobyDoo fan. Next up, I wanted to do Gur. Now, Gur is not technically a dog. I know that. Gur's not technically an animal. Gur is a malfunctioning robot from the show Invader Zim, but I really wanted to make a humanized version of him, and you know, I feel like it can count within cartoon logic. Now, Gur and the show in general have a really like wide-eyed, extremely cartoony look about them, and I made sure to include this big zipper because that's one of the most notable things about Gur's costume. Gur is super hyperactive and really loud and very lol random. I think that Invader Zim is single-handedly responsible for a lot of the lol random humor of the era, for better or worse. And I really wanted to capture the energy of Gur while also kind of keeping most of the poses I was seeing were either really extreme, like Gur like screaming and flailing, or just like standing there waiting for, I would assume, Zim or Dib or somebody to do something. So I kept that really high energy look on Gur's face, and then I did a more neutral pose so that we could really focus on like the clothes and the design and everything. I decided to stick with a sort of like 2000s emo look because honestly, Invader Zim was heavily involved in that type of fashion, like Hot Topic. So I gave him a really big oversized hoodie with a very prominent zipper and some like X stitching on the arms. And then I did some black skinny jeans and some pseudo like high tops kind of shoes. And then the color palette I kept pretty simple. Gur only has a few colors on him, even when you're seeing both his robot and his dog form at the same time. There's really just that like bright green, the bright fuchsia pink of the tongue, and then this gray and cyan color palette that the robot version of Gur has. So I stuck only with those colors. I did a slightly lighter black, like a gray color for his hair, and I tried to make his hair kind of look like his ears on his dog costume. They're sort of like little rectangles that look sort of felty, so I tried to keep that with the hair, and I gave him robot gray skin, and here he is in all of his glory. Next up, I had to include at least one anime animal because I feel like a video about cartoons is never really finished without adding at least one anime in, and I ended up settling on Cubey from Madoka. I love Madoka. Anyone who's been on my channel for a long time knows this. I have probably more Madoka figures than I do from any other series. And so despite the fact that Cubey is not technically an animal, I'm going to allow it because Cubey has a lot of animal-like traits like the tail, the fur, and the cat ears. I also find that the eyes and coloration really remind me of my albino rat Parsnip. I think Cubey really looks albino, and I just think that the design is really fantastic and interesting. So for this character's design, I turned those like floppy inner ear parts into pigtails, which seemed like a really natural fit, and I had to keep the general face just because I feel like Cubey is not right with normal eyes or anything. I had to keep it exactly as is, and I went with sort of like a ballet theme with the outfit, partially because Madoka involves a lot of like classical music throughout it, and I just felt like it would be a nice fit. Cubey is very like ethereal and like not of this world, and I just felt like trying to keep that very like light and mysterious and strange sort of energy in the character design as much as I could. I did sort of like long sleeves and then kept it with like a tutu and a tight fitting like one piece and I put some ballet shoes on this character as well. I tried to mimic the upper cat ear part with these little pigtail covers up the top, and then I just straight up put the rings that Cubey has around the long ear part exactly as is, even though I don't know how those would necessarily be held up. I just really wanted this character to actually look like Cubey, and so I was willing at this point in the video to make a few concessions. I kept the color palette really accurate and really similar to the actual character, with that like very raw ruby red color and a lot of lighter peachy pinks, and then everything else just being pure white with little accents of gold. And honestly, I think this one is my favorite. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video and watching me turn these animal characters into human characters. And now I have a really important announcement about the Clip Studio Paint contest, so stay tuned if you are interested in that. Hey everyone, the Clip Studio Paint Cutest Character in the Galaxy competition has finally come to a close, and I have been given the opportunity to select my favorite piece out of the competition and give an award to that. So I had a really difficult choice to make. Honestly, all of you guys did an incredible job, and I really want each and every one of you to feel accomplished, because putting yourself out there and presenting your art, particularly in a competition, is a huge deal. It's very scary sometimes, and honestly, I just really want to thank you guys for giving me the opportunity to see your work. It has been a legitimate treat to see all of these super adorable characters sort of flowing in through these past few weeks, so thank you so much. The piece I ended up selecting was primarily selected because it really stood out to me. It was unique, and I also particularly loved the fact that it really embodied cuteness to me. I saw so many pieces that were really cool or really beautiful. This one really screamed cute right away, and I feel like for that reason it really spoke to the competition. This piece by Hyako really like caught my eye right away. I just thought it was so adorable, and as I continued to look at it, it kept having more and more surprises for me. I particularly love all the little faces of each little character scattered throughout the piece, as well as some of the design choices, particularly the constellation bow on the central character. I just ended up having to select it because I kept thinking about it, and I just thought it was so adorable. I hope everyone had fun creating cute characters for this competition, and I genuinely want to thank each and every one of you for giving me the opportunity to see your adorable work. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to my patrons, including Munch Munch McGee, Jess Frenick, Dude What, Matilda Minchin, Golden Castles, Azarad Clazel, Snoodles, Al Kappa, Winkus Wonkus, Aki, Blue, Zero Expectations, Wooloo Luna, Lilia Lurd, Hazel Tiffia, Elizabeth Ward, The Expressive Poker Face, Morrissey Axolotl, Chris Draw, Subaki, Juliana Davis, Yume Lily, Snow White, The Becky, Liliana Hammond, Mia Lavalley, Angel File, Q Musgrove, Nicole Ludwig, Nicolette Queen, Rainwater Pearls, Ice Cream Pal, Best Kaiju, Lion, Storm Scribbles, Tom David Johansson, Ivan Rodriguez, Ilaria Louie, Nora Cornelison, Joseph Copel, Colin Lariano, Dr. Casket, Your Boy ST, JJ Jade, and of course, Lib 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 Lib.